Board members online? I know everybody's here. Clerk Segris, please take roll call.
Borninski,
Here.
Foster,
Good evening.
Ganguly,
Good evening.
Graham Hudick.
Good evening.
Segrist is here, Slavens is absent, Snyderman.
I am here. Hello.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Support?
Moved by Clerk Segris, supported by Trustee Snyderman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 21st and 28th, 2021?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Clerk Segris, supported by Trustee Foster. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, now we will begin the public comment. Public comments are for 3 minutes. We just ask that you speak to me, and just to let you know, we won't have a lot of back and forth. We'll take your public comment, and as we go on, if we have time to answer, if we answer later on, we can call you from the office or give you any information you request. So, hello, please state your name.
My name is Carol Bodenmiller, and I want to congratulate the clerk. He got an honor, and anything that happens in Canton is good for us, so thank you. I was before the board before asking about porta-johns, which might sound funny. And so they investigated it. It was for Independence Park. There's only one facility there, and it's a very huge park. And because we have many more seniors now, I felt that that should be considered, some porta-johns. They looked into it, the department head, and called me and said, well, we've had trouble, we tried before, and they tipped them over. And I thought, oh, okay. So does that end everything because they tipped them over? I got to thinking that perhaps we might have our engineering department look at it. They've been tipping over outhouses since I was a kid. And I think there is a way properly to resolve that. I think the engineers could look at it, maybe a platform, a cement area, hook those porta-johns down. I think there's always a way you can find a solution. And I would really implore the board to look into it again, and our department heads and our engineering department, and see what they could do. I think it's going to be too late for this season. Perhaps next season could be taken care of. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Bodenmiller. Next, please. George.
I'd like to know when Sheldon and Palmer Road, the area there at the intersection, is going to be taken care of. I see the signs. Could you give me an update on that, where they're supposed to replace some of the pavement on Sheldon Road?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, George. Could you speak a little bit louder?
Sheldon and Palmer Road. There's some signs there, road work supposed to be going on. What's the update on that on Sheldon Road?
Don't have our MSD person here today. If you want to call the office, we also have a packet for you upstairs. So if you want to call the office in the morning, I can give you an update.
Another thing is, I'd like to know if the theater out there, off the top of my head, I used to have some information about it. Is that theater supporting itself in revenue, and ticket revenue? And there's limited parking out there. What can be done to improve some of that, maybe?
We are going over the budget in the first week in November, so that will be included, and you can see some of the numbers then.
Well, that's been going on for some time. I don't know why that would be in the budget.
The theater?
I don't know why that would be in the budget, for, if that facility has enough revenue to carry itself instead of taxpayers' money, possibly.
The theater belongs to the township, so that's
Right.
That's why it's in the budget.
That's in the budget. Well, why isn't that theater making enough revenue to support itself? Possibly.
We can go over that the first week in November in the budget if you
I'll be
like.
glad to go over that. I'd like to know a couple other things, since I'm limited to 3 minutes. We used to have 5 with Mr. Williams, if I remember right. What's with the purchase of a backhoe excavator?
That's part of the packet that we have upstairs for you, because you've asked
What's
that
wrong with the
question.
old one?
Come on up, we have the packet for you. We called you a couple times to come up and talk to us, so.
Okay, same way with the grass trimmer was bought when Mrs. Bennett was here. I suppose that's in the budget too. And the street sweeper, which is not used anymore.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Next. Sure, go ahead.
Something has to happen with the flower shop on the corner of Beck and Ford.
Yes, I did. You said, it said something has to happen with the flower shop on the corner of Beck and Ford. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I have to look that one up, Beck and Ford. Okay, who's next?
Request 5 minutes.
We have 3 for public comment today.
I was told that I could get 5. I'm here on behalf of a group. I have a group here with me.
You were told you could have 5 by whom?
I was told that the rules allow me 5 minutes if I am here speaking on behalf of a group.
That's how it's written on the document.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Two weeks ago, the city of Troy chose to platform and praise the Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh, or HSS. Last night, I spoke at Troy City Council about why that was such a disturbing decision. The HSS, with nearly 250 branches around America, habitually seeks to get its foot in the doors of city councils and many other governmental bodies in order to normalize itself as a legitimate religious or cultural organization, which it is not. Because Canton Township may be next, I am here to tell you why the HSS is bad news. The HSS is the international wing of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or RSS, a quite literally Nazi-inspired paramilitary in India. Many HSS members in America were previously RSS members in India. The HSS frequently hosts RSS officials from India to tour and inspect its units here in America. The HSS routinely sends its members to attend RSS training camps in India. The RSS promotes Hindu nationalism, believes India should be declared a theocratic Hindu nation, where non-Hindus are assimilated or eliminated, and teaches that Indian Christians and Muslims are foreigners, internal threats, and traitors. The RSS's founders took direct inspiration from European fascists like Mussolini and Hitler, even praising Nazi treatment of the Jews as a good model to adopt in India. Most HSS meetings feature garlanded pictures of these very same fascist-inspired RSS founders. Not only did an RSS member assassinate Gandhi, but the RSS today celebrates Gandhi's assassin. The RSS regularly conducts anti-minority lynchings, assassinations, terrorist bombings, and large-scale pogroms. RSS-affiliated groups throughout India are, at this very moment, rampaging through the streets, attacking and murdering religious minorities while openly chanting slogans calling for their slaughter. The HSS, aside from its commendable nonprofit charitable work, which it will highlight for governmental bodies whose stamp of approval it seeks, serves as an international propaganda mouthpiece for the RSS and its genocidal Hindu nationalist agenda. The RSS and the HSS do not represent all Hindus, but rather a small but extremely organized and vocal minority of Hindus who belong to a specific family of organizations that promotes a vicious, xenophobic ideology for which the fascist RSS paramilitary in India serves as the fountainhead. Now that you stand informed, we trust that Canton Township will exercise due discretion if and when approached by the HSS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you which group do you represent? Okay, so that's not a
And I'm
formal.
speaking as a group of community members.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, who's next? Anyone else for public comment? Anyone else for public comment? Do we have anyone online for public comment? Mhm. Right. Are you with the same group?
Yes, I'm also part
Okay,
of
so
this.
he already spoke for your group, so that was the 5 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Do we have anyone online? Sir, are you with the same group that just spoke? Are you represented by Mr. Friedrichs?
No, he didn't represent me. Can I present myself?
If it's on the same topic, we gave him 5 minutes to speak for the group. Is this another topic?
I'm a
Okay,
Canton
go ahead,
resident.
3 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. And of course, I'm glad to live in a Canton Township, which is very multicultural and diverse, and we celebrate it every day. That's great. And good to see that, our council is represented with a diverse team here. So that's very good. And I'm here just also to emphasize that, like Canton is a village, and now the world is a village as well. And we may think, and maybe in 1930s, a lot of people thought that Europe was too far, and we neglected what happened there, and we saw the fruits of a xenophobic, vicious, and racist ideology. And so that's why I still like to kind of emphasize that we need to watch for similar fascist, policies and groups, and we have to keep an eye on it so that it doesn't penetrate here. We also see in America some of that reverberate, or some traces of that. I'm glad we are not that far yet, but we should be cautious. And also, India is not too far away, because a lot of us from that region and are close to it. So we appreciate the council to consider those vicious ideologies, and when time comes, pay attention to it. Thanks.
Thank you. Miss, I'm sorry. Are you speaking along the same lines, or you're a Canton resident? Okay, go ahead. I know, I just didn't know who she was.
Respected council members, India has been taken over by an extremist authoritarian regime headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi since May 2014. Attempts are on to cover up the extreme degradation of the country and its democratic institutions under Modi to ensure that the international community, as well as the Indian diaspora in the US, keeps the focus away from all that is wrong in the country. As a born Hindu myself living in the US, I feel compelled to reveal the larger game plan of not just the Indian government under Modi, but also his supporters in the US. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a product of the RSS, a right-wing paramilitary group inspired by the Nazis. The international wing of the RSS, the HSS, and its allies, including the World Hindu Council of America, Hindu American Foundation, Hindu Students' Council, operating in several US universities, supposedly to celebrate Hindu culture, are doing exactly the opposite. Modi and his ministers are using Hinduism to spread extreme hate against the minorities, whether it's the Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, or Dalits. The hate is being perpetrated to enable the government to get away with mass-scale corruption and looting. Modi and his supporters propagate the Hindutva philosophy, which is nothing but a saffron terror group not related to Hinduism. Modi supporters who have lived in the US for decades are pushing the radical Hindutva aggressively in every city and state in the US not endorsed by most Indians, especially Hindus. The US needs to wake up to the prospect of harboring Hindutva without being aware of it. US needs India to keep a check on countries like China, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, but a terribly weak, cruel, pompous, arrogant, narcissistic Prime Minister, who's weakening his own country, destroying the progress gained over 70 years in just 7 short years, cannot be possibly anybody's ally. God bless America and God bless India. Thank you.
Anyone else? Sure. Okay.
Respected Council, Madam Supervisor, and all city officials, including police, fire, administration, and all the essential workers. What I'm about to say affects this great city of Canton and the multitude of residents in the city that have close family and relatives. So that's why it hits home. This isn't a political statement. This is, my uncles and aunts and cousins and people that I have grown up with that get affected. So, that's what compelled me to come here and state what I'm about to state. So I have a question for everybody in this room, including, of course, the the council. Would you rather be on the side of Mahatma Gandhi and Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., or would you rather be on the side of the killers of Mahatma Gandhi, which was the RSS? That's exactly what happened. If you read history, an assassin from the organization that was mentioned before, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, with the acronym RSS, killed Gandhi, the father of the nation of India. Now, the HSS, the topic of discussion that I'm about to say, is the international wing of the RSS. And I'm not the one to make this claim standing here. It is the website of the HSS that makes that claim. So I'm just quoting from that. Now, only about 20% of the Hindu population in India subscribe to this radical ideology of racial and religious supremacy. The vast majority of Hindus that I've grown up with in India were very tolerant and inclusive, hardworking, smart, honest, and humble people. I can say the same for my many friends here from the Hindu community. But there is an issue, because for now there remain silent observers, and that's what pains our hearts, that they're mute to this injustice that is going on in India against religious minorities. So I quote Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King again and say that the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. So I ask the silent and muted majority of my own personal friends, the community, and everybody here, the Hindu brothers and sisters, who are many residents of this Canton city, please end your deafening silence. It hurts. Please voice your concern loud and clear. You can't be mute spectators standing around and just watching it, and you vote for your minority rights here in this great country of the land of opportunity, while you do not say anything for the same rights of similar minorities in India, which are the
Thank you,
Christians,
sir.
Muslims, and Dalits.
Thank
Thank you for your allowance.
Next. Okay, anyone online still? Do you have any comments online? No public comment?
I see no hands raised.
Public comments, thank you. We have public comments at the end also. Yeah. Who was that? Okay.
Good evening, the trustees here. I was here about 3 decades ago in the same room asking the trustees to approve a parochial school in Canton. And you know what has happened in the last 30 years? That school has become the center of attraction for a large Muslim community in the United States. You see, there's a lot of Muslim families have moved in. So that brought peace, prosperity, and what I would say is diversity to the township. 3 decades after, I'm standing here to caution you about some forces, negative forces, the fascist forces influenced by Nazis, which are spreading around this area here. There's one, I heard the speaker said there are about 200 plus branches of RSS, and one of them happens to be in Canton. So we want to make sure that the supervisors here and the body, which is getting or gives the approvals for different organizations, for different operating permits, considers two equations. Number one, RSS stands for Nazism. HSS equals RSS. We have started an organization called CAPI. It's a coalition of Americans for pluralism in India. And we will be more than happy to work with the organization, the Canton Township, to give a proper background or maybe educate the staff and the trustees and the supervisor, if I can say so, about this activities, the activities of the negative forces of RSS equals HSS in our communities. We cannot allow any negative forces training and impacting the peace of this community, which we have strived for the last 30 years to build in Canton. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Any other public comment? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Canton resident, and I feel very fortunate to be here today and giving me an opportunity to speak in front of this city council. I feel fortunate to be born in the land of Buddha, Phule, and Ambedkar. The message of love and compassion that Buddha gave is practiced by other countries but India. Today, people live in fear for their life. When I left India, I felt India was progressing and on the path of an ideal democracy that we envision in America. But that short-lived dream was shattered in 2014. We blamed the British for the atrocities they have caused upon Indians. But that was then. What the British could not destroy by 150 years of rule, the current Hindu fundamental government has been successful in destroying the peace and harmony in just 7 years. The organization like HHS in America runs on the ideology of RSS. RSS is the fundamentalist Hindu organization, just like Nazis in Germany, KKK in America. Current Hindu BJP government takes the direction from RSS to run the country, and the outcome is nothing but unrest in the society. Unfortunately, there are many misguided Hindus who support the RSS agenda in America, while Hindus avail the benefits of minorities in America, but opposes the same thing to Dalits or the other minorities. Recent Cisco caste discrimination are the outcome of emboldened fundamental ideologies. This double standard shall not have a place in our society, and this has to stop. This must be stopped. Ever since Hindu fundamentalist BJP came in power, religious and caste atrocities have been on rise. Rapes on Dalits and minorities, and the murders are happening in daylights. Minorities and Dalits are living in fear every single day for their life. As a resident of this town for more than 20 years, I do not want to see this beautiful nation and the city to be radicalized by Hindu extremists. I urge the City Council to allow us to offer the education on different aspects of India's culture and diversity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments? Comments? Comments. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the payment of bills. Can I have a motion to pay the bills, please?
So moved.
Support.
By Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Tanya. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve the consent calendar as presented. Item C1, consideration of second reading and adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 46 of the Canton Code of Ordinances to comply with the raise the age legislation, Public Acts 97.114 of the Michigan Public Acts of 19, and I believe that was, that language was corrected between the first reading. So item C2, consider approving employee tuition for college credits as permitted by bargaining unit contract. Item C3, consider approval of the removal and replacement of rooftop units at the Summit and Administration buildings in connection with the capital improvement program. And item C4, consider approval of the removal and replacement of rooftop units at Canton Sports Center in connection with the capital improvement program.
Support.
By Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Borninski. Is, all of those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Next item is the general calendar. Item G1, consider Ford Sheldon Newman Plan Development District Amendment Number 2 for BJ's Wholesale Club.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve the following resolution for approval of Ford Sheldon Newman Planned Development District Amendment Number 2 for BJ's Wholesale Club. Whereas project sponsor has requested approval of Amendment Number 2 to the Ford Sheldon Newman Planned Development District for BJ's Wholesale Club located on the north side of Ford Road between Sheldon Road and Morton Taylor Road. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the amended Plan Development Plan and Plan Development Agreement and voted 7-0 to recommend approval of the request with conditions as it is consistent with the Ford Sheldon Newman Plan Development and meets the design requirements of the zoning ordinance. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton, Michigan does hereby approve Amendment Number 2 to the Ford Sheldon Newman Plan Development on tax parcel listed at 43690 Ford Road, subject to the access drive being repaired and maintained in accordance with Section 4.01B9 of the zoning ordinance, that the design and condition of this access drive be assessed to the satisfaction of the Engineering Services Division during site plan review, and that the PD agreement amendment include any requirements of the township attorney.
Support?
Yes, I'll support.
It's moved by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. Thank you. The applicant BJ's Wholesale Club is a retail superstore that proposes to reoccupy the site recently vacated by J.C. Penney at 43690 Ford Road. Specifically, the site is located on the north side of Ford Road between Sheldon Road and Morton Taylor Road. The site consists of a 104,718 square foot building, a 415 space parking lot, and an access drive directly from Morton Taylor Road, as well as several cross access points to adjacent sites. The site is part of the Ford Sheldon Newman PDD, which was originally approved in 2004 for the current site, and a site plan for J.C. Penney was approved in 2007 pursuant to the PDD. The current PDD agreement permits retail superstores. The terms of the proposed PDD amendment is summarized as follows. An automobile tire center is proposed as an ancillary use to the retail superstore. The services provided in the tire center will be limited to the rotation, balancing, repair, inflation, check, and road hazard warranty work only on tires purchased at BJ's and not available for tires not purchased at BJ's. All services will be conducted indoors and not in the parking lot or other outside areas. The bay doors of the automobile tire center shall be opened only during the ingress and egress of a vehicle being serviced, and the garage doors shall remain closed while tire center services are being performed. The on-site trash compactor shall not be operated after 10 p.m. or before 6:30 a.m. The minimum number of parking spaces will be reduced from 415 to 399, a reduction of 16 spaces. Cart corrals and tire center bay doors entrances are proposed in the areas where parking spaces are proposed for removal. There are no changes proposed to the building footprint or height. Patrick, would you like to add anything?
Nothing to add right now. The summary is in the staff report, and the Planning Commission had reviewed this at the September 13th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting and recommended approval with some conditions. One of the conditions added at that evening was that the bay doors would be closed while vehicles are being serviced, which was added out of concern from some of the neighboring residents.
Thank you. Trustee Foster, do you want to add anything from the Planning Commission?
No, I was just going to add the part about the noise concerns and that the applicant was willing to address that by closing the door. So Patrick covered that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, board discussion? Kate?
Yeah, just a quick question. It looks like there's a retaining pond to the east of that site. And I noticed that it said there was no changes to stormwater mitigation. So I'm assuming then that that retaining pond is staying in place and no changes to that. Is that right?
That's correct. There's no change to the pond. There's no proposed increase in impervious surface that would cause for a pond change. And additionally, the previous landscape plan that was approved for J.C. Penney, that plan would still be in effect.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, after, well, just one more. Any other board discussion? Tanya?
Yeah, so I also saw that a lot of people had concerns about the compactors. And is that, because this store will be open 7 days a week, and so is that like, over the weekends, people like to sleep in, and if you're having compactors starting at 6:30, and is that an issue? Do we think that noise would be an issue for them, or is it just comes under the noise ordinance, and we are fine with it working 7 days a week?
It would be covered under the noise ordinance regardless of the hours that are specified in the PDD agreement. And that's a good point. This was also another condition that was added during the Planning Commission meeting out of concern from the neighbors regarding the noise. And so a condition was volunteered by the applicant to not operate the compactor after 10 p.m. or before 6:30 a.m., which are during the closing hours of the store. So there wouldn't be anyone during those closing hours where they would be using the compactor. But to address the question about the noise ordinance would still be in effect. So if they do operate the compactor during the operation hours, they would still be subject to the noise ordinance during the hours specified in that ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board discussion or question? Stephen?
Nothing really pressing. My only question was, I see that the reason for the amendment is the parking spaces and the tire center. Was that actually required, something we amend the PDD for? It was not allowed under the existing PDD?
Yes, that's correct. The original PDD agreement called for a certain number of parking spaces. And because that number of parking spaces was set in a PDD agreement, to reduce it, only a PDD amendment could reduce it. So a PDD amendment would be required for that. And additionally, the tire center is technically auto repair. And auto repair in the ordinance can cover a whole host of different repair uses. So not only could the PDD agreement allow for that auto repair use, but it also gives an opportunity to limit the use, to limit the types of repairs that can happen there.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Any other board discussion? Okay, public comment, public questions? Carol, can you go to the, thank you, Carol.
You have a road out in front of J.C. Penney's. We like to call that Carol's Road. I helped put that in. But anyway, it needs to be redone.
That's a provision.
And is that part of their, or do they say they're going to put some money forth to get that repaired? Because it's in bad shape.
Yes.
You also need some speed signs in there. I mean, people go through there like they're out on Ford Road sometimes. So I don't know that, that the township, if we call that private, I don't know. But you need to have something because they're going really fast on there. That's all.
Thank you. Patrick, how is that handled usually in those ancillary roads for speed limit signs? And
Well, they are private access drives, so they're not in the public right-of-way or even along a private road easement. So I don't know off the top of my head how the speed is regulated there.
There are 4 speed bumps on that access drive. I do know that.
you can check on the speed limits then.
Yeah, we can check on the limits and whether we're able to work with them in terms of any kind of limit. And then it also comes down to enforcement, whether they would allow enforcement to take place on private property.
Okay.
Beyond that, they could do either speed bumps or speed tables in terms of ways with the surfacing to slow cars down.
Thank you. Are there any questions online? Okay. Next item, let's ask for a vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next item, G2. Consider waiving the purchasing process and issue a purchase order for landscaping restoration for the Ridge Road paving project.
Madam Supervisor, I move to waive the bidding process and to approve a contract with Margolis Companies for $17,022 from the Capital Outlay Infrastructure Fund.
Support.
Moved by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Summer. Thank you. In 2020, Canton Township retained Dan's Excavating Incorporated to construct the Ridge Road Ford to Warren paving project. The majority of the project was completed in 2020, and the road was open to traffic in November. Dan's completed some restoration along the road this spring. However, as agreed to by the Township and Dan's in 2020, some of the restoration, plantings, trees, and landscaping for the residential properties and right-of-way along Ridge Road will be handled directly by the Township. Municipal Services has solicited quotes from landscape contractors and recommends award of a contract to Margolis Companies of Ypsilanti, Michigan, for a not-to-exceed amount of $17,022. Patrick, do you have anything to add to this?
Nothing to add.
Okay, any discussion by the board? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item G3, consider approval to purchase 2022 Seasons fertilizer, fungicide, plant protectant, and nutrients for Pheasant Run Golf Club and Parks in 2020.
Madam Supervisor, I move to waive the bidding process and approve the following blanket purchase orders for 2021 and 2022 for the purchase of 2022's Seasons fertilizers, fungicides, plant protectants, and nutrients for the Pheasant Run Golf Club and Parks Division for a total amount not to exceed $131,000 between 2021 and 2022.
Support.
Moved by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Snyderman. Thank you. Due to the anticipated increase in cost and lack of availability, the Leisure Services Department is recommending to take advantage of the early order program rebate that is being offered. This program allows Canton to purchase and receive materials in 2021, but not pay until 2022, allowing Canton to save approximately 10 to 20% depending on the product and be guaranteed to receive the product. These purchases against the township will be for multiple products made with multiple purchases, and the quantity of products is unknown because they are weather dependent. Therefore, Canton Leisure Services is recommending to waive the bidding process and approve the following blanket purchase orders for the advanced 2021 purchase of 2022's Seasons fertilizer, fungicides, plant protectants, and nutrients for the Pheasant Run Golf Club and Parks Division, and a total amount of $131,000 to ensure a better rate and guaranteed delivery. Funds will be expensed from the 2022 budget as stated. Advanced Turf Solution in the table below. Advanced Turf Solutions, Pheasant Run Golf Course, amount $49,000. Harrell's for $25,000. Sightstone Landscape for $40,000. Site One Landscape for $10,000. Nutrien AG Solutions for $7,000. Any discussion? Questions? Kate?
Yeah, Greg, just wondering if we give notice to the public when these products are being used? Like, for example, at a park?
Yes, if they're, for any that would be used in a park, absolutely, we would post on Facebook and social media, those sorts of things, as well as signage in the parks as well. And then when it's used on the golf course, those holes are closed until the products are settled and dried.
Okay, thank you.
Greg, did you have anything to add to RBA?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that this is a new process for us. We haven't made a purchase in the fall or winter of a season prior to the next season, so the RPA is a little confusing here. We're not going to purchase all of those products this year, just getting the PO set so we can purchase some of those this year. It's anticipated that there's going to be some supply chain issues early next year, as there have been with a variety of products throughout the country since the pandemic has hit. So we want to take advantage of that, plus the cost savings that we can get 2021's rates for those, and actually a discount on the 2021 rates. And since these are petroleum-based products, it's anticipated that those costs are going to be rising in the early parts of 2022.
Stephen?
Do we have any issues with storing them longer than we usually do?
Yeah, well, we've got the space that we're able to store those.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item G, let's see. 4. Consider a request to change customer service hours of Public Safety's Records Bureau.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the new proposed hours of operation for the Public Safety Records Bureau to be Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Support.
Thank you. Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Snyderman. The Public Safety Department is requesting to change the Records Bureau hours of customer service from 5 8-hour days to 4 10-hour days. The proposed new hours would be Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Director Bao, do you want to add anything?
Certainly. We studied this through a pilot program from January to June. We did have a day where we had hours extended out to 8 p.m. The goal was to allow for the opportunity for residents to be able to come in, receive their reports, or whatever business they had with our Records Bureau after their work hours or normal work hours for our residents, because historically they would have to take part of a day off to actually have some type of interchange with our Records Bureau. We saw 43 people actually show up after 6, between 6 and 8. We didn't see that was viable to continue it just for 43 people in 6 months. So to maintain a little bit better service, but cutting out Friday, I think we provide a better service, keeping our bureau open to 6 p.m. Further, I think in the next 5 years, we'll consider a way to increase staffing, maybe as the FOIA requests continue to increase, and maybe improve staffing to where we can do this 5 days a week.
Questions or discussion?
I just wanted to say that, I didn't understand why we were not providing a service on Friday, and now I understand what the purpose of the Records Bureau is, and it's a good thing that people have an after-hours opportunity to come and collect reports and things like that. So I think it's a good project.
Thank you. Okay.
So more of a request, just to make sure that we get this change in hours out to the public so they understand that Fridays are not going to be an option anymore. And that we have extended hours other days. So.
Right. And also, we'll generate some numbers so the board can see the actual usage of the Records Bureau.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item G5. Consider approving additional civil engineering work required for the Fire Station Number 2 property.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the payment of $29,880 to Partners in Architecture for the damage assessment and certification work performed for the Township's Eagle USACE joint permit for floodway floodplain modification at the Fire Station Number 2 property on Warren Road.
Support.
Motion made by Clerk Segrist, supported by Trustee Borninski. The Fire Station Number 2 property on Warren Road required a damage assessment and certification to satisfy the requirements of the Eagle/USACE Joint Permit for Floodway Floodplain Modification. This work was performed by the project engineering contractor for Partners in Architecture in the amount of $29,880. Director Stockline, do you have anything to add?
Nothing more than what's in the background there.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I actually do not believe we paid the bills, did we? We did. Okay, great. All right. So I will now move to public comment. Is there any additional public comment? But sure, you want to. Oh, go ahead. Why do we need another? I'm sorry. A tire center? Oh, why do we need another tire center there?
The question, so the question was asked for anybody watching at home, because they don't hear the audio unless you walk up to the podium. Why do we need another tire station on Ford Road? There are other tire stations. That's the public comment. The answer to that is the government can't tell people that they can't open up a business. BJ's believes they will open up a successful store. I'm unfamiliar with BJ's. I understand that they are a large warehouse like a Costco, and that tires is probably something that they also do like a Costco. So the reason we voted yes is because if we illegally told BJ's they couldn't open up on Ford Road, they would probably sue us and they would win. And then they would open up anyway and they just take more of your tax dollars from you. So that's why we voted yes.
The difference between Costco and BJ's, I believe, don't quote me, but I think that BJ's is not a membership, whereas Costco is.
Right, right.
I believe that's the difference. So anybody can go in there. I've been in them. They're nice stores. They have a lot of product. People love to go in them. So just, little added information.
Thanks, Carol. Did you have another comment? No? Another public comment? Okay. George, I saw you raise your hand.
I noticed we have a tree planting program. When a subdivision, for example, is being developed, if they have to clear the wooded area, there's a quota, whatever it may be, 3-to-1, 5-to-1. You tear down 5 trees, you got to replace 1. I'd like to know they're cleaning out maybe 200 or 300 acres out there on Michigan Avenue and Beck Road area. I'd like to know if that's going to be met.
Patrick, do you want to comment on that? That was from the Planning Commission.
Sure. There's a couple of areas there that I will comment on because there is work going on at 2 sites at the same time. The first one is on the north side of Michigan Avenue between Beck and Denton, and that was Pure Development Warehouse and Distribution Center. And they got approval from the Planning Commission and the Township Board, and they got approval for a tree removal permit. So they had to inventory trees, get a permit, and they have on their site plan a proposal to plant the required number of trees that the ordinance specifies. And part of their review was that they included it on the plan for voluntary compliance with the tree removal standards. And that was part of the special land use and the site plan for the Pure Development Industrial Warehouse. The other site that I'll note is on the west side of Beck Road, north of Michigan Avenue. There's been some tree clearing activity and some utility work going on there. That one is called Fillmore Place Apartments, attached one-story apartments. It looks like attached condos, but they'll be rental apartments. And near the west and the rear side, there will be 2-story apartments. And The tree clearing going on there, it's part of a planned development district, and it's in the planned development district agreement that they will comply with the tree ordinance, and they are also proposing to plant a number of trees in compliance with the ordinance. So both sites have submitted plans for the tree removal and the replacement, and have received permits for it.
Thank you.
A little more to add to that, we're not going to have any problems, are we, with drainage? Out there, they're going to have retention ponds when there's the worst 100-year rain or 500-year rain, so it doesn't flood the area like Sheldon Road and Palmer Road area, since the county doesn't clean the ditches.
That is part of your plans also, I believe.
We're going to make sure there's enough to take care of the runoff on the roofs in the parking lots, right?
That's what they did when they, yep.
One other question, we have a tree planting program also there. I'd like to know if we're going to, with some of the trees that the townships planted underneath the power lines, if they're going to be trimmed eventually.
That's actually, I had a call with DTE the other day. They said if you call and give an address, DTE, they will come out and trim them. So they do have a program for that.
Is it going to be Edison or should it be the township, because the township planted them? The
DTE.
township planted them. Some of the trustees here, I was at a meeting, to beautify the township, they had to plant that stuff instead of flowers underneath the power lines.
If you call DTE and give the address, they will call us if they're ours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other comments from the staff or board? Anything else? Okay, great. I'd like to, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Clerk Seeger, supported by Trustee Foster. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.